everybody, and welcome to Dream Chasers. Our guest for today is Mr. Julian, the Purpose Finder Gordon. Jordan, say what's up to everybody.
What's up, everybody?
So today we're going to be talking to Julian about his journey from working in corporate America, correct? Nonprofit, and then over to now where he owns his own company, where you do what?
I do motivational speaking, curriculum development, consulting for small businesses. That's primarily what I do.
That seems like a whole lot all into one, but we'll get to each and every part of that.
Yeah.
Let's start at the beginning though. When you were growing up, let's say, 5, 6, 7, 8, what did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
Oh, it wasn't what I thought I was going to be. It was what everybody else wanted me to be. I had two doctors or parents, so everybody thought that I was going to be a doctor, and I realized that wasn't the path for me pretty early on.
Like when?
Just early on when, my parents weren't at my baseball games and things like that. I realized that though I had a great upbringing and they had provided for me, there was a balance because I had one of my friends whose dad was an accountant, but he was also our baseball coach, right? And I had another friend whose dad was our minister, but he's also our soccer coach. And so I'd always compare, and it's not fair to compare my parents to somebody else's, but I'm like, there's another way to actually move through this life and have happiness, fulfillment, and time freedom. I think that's what people really want at the end of the day, is time freedom. And so I thought I would take a different path.
I realized that as I was on this path in terms of trying to be better than my parents, because that's what they were setting me up for, I was actually on a path to being extra average. And by extra average meant that if they got a house by 35, then I needed to get one by 30. If they got a nice car, Mercedes-Benz, by the age of 30, then I needed to have one by the age of 22. It meant getting all the things that they had faster than they got them and bigger than they had them. And that's because I was defining success based on having what they had and their definition of success instead of my own.
I majored in business economics. I was undeclared for about a year and a half, and then I ended up majoring in business economics.
Wait, you were undeclared? What does that mean? You were just chilling?
Undeclared means taking your general education requirements without choosing a major yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't know what you wanted to do when you got in?
No.
I was a square in high school, so when I got to UCLA, I didn't just go to parties, I started throwing parties. Right, and so I drove my car. It was actually the night the Lakers won their first championship with Shaq and Kobe, and Crenshaw Boulevard was cracking, and I drove into this parking lot to pass out flyers at a party that was coming out. So it was like past midnight, and the moment I drive into the parking lot and turn off my car, two men jump out of their car. One comes up to my driver's side door. One comes to the backside door and holds me up at gunpoint. The three other people in my car run. And here I am looking down the barrel of a gun. Without words, keys were exchanged, car's gone. I had no insurance on the car because I put everything I had into fixing the car. And at that moment in time, my life hit reset. It hit reset. It started all over. I had zero money in my bank account. Fortunately, I was an RA that summer, so I had free housing and free food. Otherwise, I don't know how I would have made it through that summer. And so here was my opportunity to actually define and create my life based on what I wanted, not based on symbols like Mercedes-Benz in the way my parents may have wanted it for me. And I call that my magic bullet experience.
I got to a point where I thought that the only way to actually serve God full time was to be a minister. And
Julian.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've been there, but it wasn't until later on that I realized that that's not the only way. That and that it's actually living in alignment with my purpose, because everyone has a unique purpose that they were created to live, and that's how you serve your spiritual source, your creator.
And one of the best definitions of success that I found thus far is from Earl Nightingale, and he said, "A success is anyone who is realizing a worthy, predetermined ideal because that's what he or she decided to do deliberately." So there's some key words in here: predetermined, ideal, and deliberately. So if I end up being a celebrity on TV, and that's not something that I predetermined that I wanted to do, then is that a success according to his definition? That's somewhere where I just ended up. And in other people's eyes, that may look like a success because that's where they want to end up. But if that's not where I wanted and chose my life to go, then I'm not a success. I just got blown with the wind, and the wind happened to take me to a pretty good place. And so success can only be determined when you say, I want to get there, and you will climb over mountains and chairs and people, hopefully not in a negative way, in order to get to where you predetermined that you wanted to go.
These are just the way things piece together. Now, even going back to being a party promoter, I host and lead events today. In terms of ministry, I help people actually discover their purpose. And then in terms of my business side, I'm an entrepreneur. And so after directing the SHAPE program for 2 years, I decided to go to business school.
Saturday, November 22nd. And this Saturday, this date, has set my entire life in motion. And I am here in front of you almost 3 years later, because of this single thing that I did, this single bold action.
You graduated from business school, and then you do what? Like, what are you doing after graduation?
Yeah, I had the great opportunity to work at Management Leadership for Tomorrow. I'm not sure if you heard of that organization. They help minority young professionals actually transition from college to career, and from young professionals into MBAs. And so I took a role there as the Associate Director of Talent Recruitment. So I was responsible for national marketing for the organization, trying to raise the awareness of the organization as well as increase applications. And the unique thing about that situation is that going into it, they knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur long term, and that this was actually a short term gig for me, and I call it a bridge job. So a bridge job for me is a job that you're either going to work at for 18 months and quit, or a job that's going to allow you to reach a 6-month savings goal to cover your expenses, so that you can actually go and do what's next for you. So once I had that time horizon on it, then it actually forced me to maximize that space and really grow and develop there. And at the 17-month mark, which was January 2009, I actually saved that. I do. At the 17-month mark, at the height of it was January 2009, the height of the financial crisis, I reached my 6-month savings goal.
When I sent out that email, which only took 5 to 10 minutes to draft, I did not have a curriculum for that upcoming Saturday. So what did I have to do once that email was out? What did I have to do once the email was out? I had to step up.
I sent out an email to 100 people and said, I'm going to have the first draft of this book to you within 30 days.
Wow.
Right? So the email takes 5 minutes to draft, but that simple 5 minutes actually sets everything else in motion, because there's this weird thing about a lot of humans, me, myself included, which is we're comfortable disappointing ourselves, but we don't like to disappoint other people. So you can actually use that, right, and actually trick your mind a little bit. And I call it positive peer pressure. So once my friends are expecting something of me in 30 days, I have to show up.
So I ended up writing the book, but I didn't just write that book, because the next question was, okay, now that you've got clear on your purpose, how do you find your goals? And how do you achieve your goals? And I wrote this book in 30 days. In 30 days, I wrote this book. It is 27 pages. So once I realized that methodology worked, I applied it again. I sent out an email to almost 200 people this time who had been coming to my monthly potluck dinners. I said, I'm going to have the first draft of this book to you within a 30-day period. And what I did was I engaged other people. Because here's the thing about us, and I don't know why human psychology works this way, but we're more comfortable disappointing other people, or disappointing ourselves, than we are other people. We're more comfortable disappointing ourselves than we are other people. So we can actually use that to our advantage.
So for you, in the next, 3 years, where do you want to be?
To be honest, I don't know. The world is changing extremely fast, and I'm doing less and less planning. I already told you that I don't do New Year's resolution planning. I do 30-day do-its, because the world is changing super fast. So where I want to be is I want to be present.
So alive.
I want to be alive, and I want to be present in
Okay.
the moment, and wherever the world needs me the most at that moment, that's where I'm going to show up.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Dream Chasers. We'd like to thank our phenomenal guest, Mr. Julian, the Purpose Finder Gordon. For more information, check us out on the web at www.butnowwhat.com. Until next time, thanks for watching. some kid graduates from college and is feeling kind of lost.
Yeah.
What are 3 concrete important things that you can recommend that they could do to try to kind of hone it in a little?
Yeah, so the first one is free, and it is finding quiet space. It's just being still for a minute and finding quiet space to be with yourself. That's the first thing. And maybe that's hard for someone without a lot of resource, but just finding quiet space to be still. If it's at Central Park,
because I mean, if you're not working, you don't have a job, you should have lots of quiet space. I'm just saying, you don't have to be at work. You should have time to chill out a little bit. Gotta chill out a little bit. Okay, so find some quiet space.
Stop being busy. Actually use the time to actually do some introspection. That's why the process is called the interview. Okay. The next thing is do a 30-day do it, but do something amazing. Do something that you would be proud of. See, when I wrote that blog post on 66 things to do before you graduate, people thought that was amazing. And when you do something amazing that you're proud of and that actually moves other people, there's an energy built around it, and you can actually use that momentum to actually fuel whatever is next. I didn't know it was going to transpire into an entire tour, but I committed to doing something amazing and creating value for the world without any expectation. And so that's how opportunities open up, is when you do something amazing.
Question.
Yes.
Is there a place on the site that they can find out how to organize a 30-day do it group? Are there resources for that on the website?
30daydoit.com.
Okay.
That's it. The whole, you can download the packet to show you how to create a group. The group doesn't have to be big. It could be 2 people.
Okay.
You just need an accountability partner, because when you set a goal, a date doesn't hold you accountable. October 1st doesn't hold me accountable. When October 1st comes, it's not going to look me in the eye and say, what's up, right?
Yeah.
But somebody who really cares about you, and it's not necessarily a friend who's a good 30-day do it partner, because sometimes friends are too easy on us and too compassionate. You actually need somebody who's going to be firm and like, no, you didn't do what you said that you wanted to do, and you had over 600 hours in this past month to do it. What's going on, right? And then the third thing I recommend is actually networking up. Networking up, and networking up is meeting adults. When you look at most people's cell phones, most of the people in their cell phones are in their same age group, right? With the exception of their parents and aunts and uncles, etc. But a lot of my opportunities that have occurred and that I didn't even see on my own actually came from older people looking at what I'm doing and what I have and saying, you know where that would be valuable? Over here, over here, over here. And where you are actually the most valuable is actually where your purpose is, because it's your unique contribution to the world.